All right, good morning, everyone. This is a regular meeting of the members of the State Liquor Authority. Present today in Albany is Chairman Bradley. Commissioner Fan, you are here with us by phone?
Yes.
And Commissioner Ford?
Present and accounted for, yes.
All right. This meeting is being held with Commissioner Fan and Commissioner Ford participating by telephone pursuant to the Governor's executive order, which suspended provisions of the open meetings law, allowing us to do this by telephone. Also present here in Albany are Deputy Commissioner of Licensing Roberts, the Counsel to the Authority of Meyerhoff, and myself, Secretary to the Authority Donahue. The next meeting is of the State Liquor Authority, which will be held in the same fashion as this one, will be April 15th and April 29th. We were going to go back now to the regular schedule of bi-weekly meetings, but they will be continuing to be held in this manner until further notice. Chairman, do you have any announcements to make before we move forward?
I do not.
We're going to call items primarily in the order that they're listed on the agenda sheet, with one exception. And that is the first item we're going to call is item 510L, Luke's Lounge, Inc. This is a request from Counsel's Office for a proposed emergency summary order of suspension.
Good morning, everyone. This matter concerns a licensee in the Bronx, Luke's Lounge, Inc., doing business as Cafe Serrata. We received a referral from the NYPD late last week informing us that this location had been repeatedly violating the governor's executive order restricting service in on-premises establishments and the mayor's order restricting such service. Upon investigating the matter and obtaining records from the New York Police Department and in conversations with the officers who were on the scene, we learned that this location had been informed on multiple occasions. The police arrived on the location as a result of 311 calls and other complaints from neighbors being concerned about service taking place inside the premises. So the NYPD was dispatched to the location 3 or 4 days in a row, each time finding some group of individuals inside congregating and being served. The police department in each of those occasions warned the manager on duty, who we understand to be the husband of the licensee, and dispersed the crowd. The police also noticed that there was a note on the door saying "takeout only." So it wasn't as if even on the first visit by the NYPD or subsequent visits that this licensee did not know that it was not supposed to be serving people inside. On one of the occasions, I believe it was on the 19th of March, the police report reflects they observed 40 people inside. I believe it was either the next day or the day after. The police returned, found 17 people inside. At that point, they took photographs, which have been included with your papers, of what was going on inside. I believe summonses were issued that day. And notwithstanding receiving a summons, the following day there were more 311 calls. They returned to the scene to find people sitting outside in a illegally constructed patio. Both people were being served both inside and outside. As we looked into it, the patio is also a legal violation for a number of reasons, and that's included in the notice of pleading that we've already prepared and served. It is clear from this record that the individuals running this establishment have no concern about the most dangerous health conditions that this city and state have probably ever faced, and have just decided to flout the law, the executive orders, the direct instructions of the police, at grave risk to the public health and safety. There couldn't be a more obvious case, in our view, of a need to take immediate action to ensure the protection of public and health and safety. So the Council's office requests that you summarily suspend the license of Luke's Lounge, doing business as Cafe Serrata.
Any questions, Commissioner Fan?
Council, can you remind me of the date of the actual executive order?
The
So
date
this
of
was
the
the day
executive
after,
order,
or it's a few days after?
a few days after. The executive order, I believe, was March 16th, right? It was the day before St. Patrick's Day.
Okay.
Yeah, it was that March 16th at 8 o'clock, at 8 p.m. It took effect.
So this activity took place, I think the first time they were notified that they needed to disperse the crowd was the next day, the 17th. I believe
Got it.
the first complaint the NYPD responded to was the 17th, and yet they continued to have people on the premises, multiple people on the premises, March 19th, March 20th, March 21st, and March 22nd. Each time the police appearing and telling them to cease and desist.
Commissioner Ford?
Can't say that he wasn't warned several times. I think the police were actually very lenient with him. So I'm looking at this. He told police that he was painting inside the bar. Some people entered the premise, removed chairs inside the premises, took them outside.
Yes. The excuse that was on the last day in question, the 22nd, when people were sitting outside in a location, a patio that had already been cited for being a violation by, I believe, the Department of Buildings. But when asked how the same individual who had been written a summons the prior day could have been allowing this to go on, his excuse was that he had just opened the door and was doing some work inside, and that some people, grabbed his chairs and apparently grabbed cups and filled them with things and the like. Again, the charges here are not necessarily only that they were drinking alcohol in the location. This is a violation of clear and unambiguous state and city regulations, which every licensee, every on-premises licensee, is obligated to follow if they want to have a license in this state. And council's view is somebody so willing to violate these orders in such an obvious way that the health and safety of those in the surrounding this place caused multiple people to call and ask the police to come by and break this thing up. Even doing that twice or three times was not sufficient to stop these people from continuing to break the law.
I think we're ready to vote, Tom.
All right then.
Yep.
Commissioner Fan?
This licensee has a history of violating laws with probably a non-bona fide licensed premise and an illegal sidewalk cafe. And in this case, I vote to summarily suspend their liquor license because of their reckless violation of public health orders issued by the governor and the mayor together during this crisis. And this is an imminent risk to public health and safety.
Commissioner Ford?
I vote to summarily suspend as well for all the same reasons. This licensee obviously wants to start a new career and get another type of business going. So they flagrantly violated the law and put the health and safety of other New Yorkers at risk. So I vote to summarily suspend as well.
Chairman Bradley?
I'm going to vote to summarily suspend. There's obviously absolutely a complete disregard for the governor's executive order, the mayor's executive order. They have absolutely no respect for their neighbors' health and their own family's health. And if there's one thing that the police department, particularly in New York City, does not need to be doing is driving around making sure bars are not violating the executive orders. I want to make a general statement here that overall across the state, most licensees have been complying with this executive order and following the law to the best of their abilities, and we have not had an enormous amount of complaints regarding this, but I want to be clear that if this continues, those people that are violating it will not be opening again. That will be the end of your business. So I think that this individual should be aware of that going forward, and anyone that is open currently will be seeking summary suspensions for this type of behavior, and I will be recommending revocation on those cases.
All right, then we're going to return to the regular order of the agenda. And the first item is 447, Blue Line Brewery, LLC. You have a submission, a late submission from the licensee. He was asking for some additional time before you take any action on this application.
How can I go and speak to them?
If you want to have a conference with council, what we can do is we will move this line. We'll have you.
Can I have my own conference with council?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then just turn it off.
We're gonna just take a brief recess. We're gonna mute the line while the chairman discusses the legal issue with council, and then if you need to have if council needs to have a conference with the other members, we can arrange a telephone call.
Okay.
All right. All right, we are back on the record after a brief conference with council between the chairman and Council Meyerhoff. And we are still on item 447.
So, commissioners, what I was asking council about was whether information that came into me this morning could be shared on the record as well as with you. And the information that I got this morning was that the relief for civil disabilities that we were led to believe was imminent for this individual was actually denied by the Department of Corrections. He's apparently filed an appeal of that denial. I don't know what that means. I don't know whether that means that, or what the time frame is for that. But just to make everyone aware, this came in front of us in November of 2019, and he basically was convicted of a felony, and as you all know, a convicted felon cannot hold a liquor license. Nothing had been done in November to change the status of the licensee, meaning taking him off the license or getting relief from civil disabilities. It was literally 3 months after we gave him the instruction to file the corporate change that we actually received the corporate change application, which we just got in January, mid-January of this year. Adam has since reviewed that corporate change application, and he can update us on the status of that.
Commissioner, so as the chairman alluded to, the corporate change application was filed. We have a receipt date of 1/11/2020 for that. After reviewing the corporate change application, however, Mr. Gillis has not removed himself from the business via corporate change application. He merely divested his interest 50%, giving the other portion to his wife. So again, the chairman mentioned that if you have this statutory disqualification, you're not eligible to hold a license. He did not remove himself from this license. He's only proposing that he owns 50% less than he did originally.
So that being said, I feel like myself personally, I've been out on a limb here trying to allow this individual to continue the operation of this brewery with another family member. Bless you. I feel like at this point it's been 5 months and we're still no closer to a corporate change being approved or closer to him getting relief from civil disabilities. At this point, I don't see. This is not a discretionary activity by this board. The statute's clear that you cannot hold a license if you're a convicted felon. He is clearly a convicted felon, and I don't see that changing in the near future. So at this point, I got to vote to cancel and bond.
Well, you haven't voted yet on whether or not you're granting reconsideration. Okay, all we've done is stay the matter pending.
Well, then I'm not granting. So it's right now pending cancel and bond.
Right now, it was canceled. It was stayed. So the question before the members right now is, are you going to grant reconsideration? And then, of course, if you do, what are you going to do after that?
I'm not going to grant reconsideration.
I just wanted to make one other point on the record, and that is that the letter that was sent on March 29th, 2020, does not reference the status of his certificate of relief application. It was only a few days ago, but one would think that he would have been careful to be accurate about that situation, and it does not appear that that took place in this letter in support of a request to reconsider the prior action of the board.
I mean, at this point, in my own view, I don't see how I can let this go on any longer.
Adam, can you guys hear me okay? I'm on AirPods now.
Yes.
Okay. Adam, I wanted to ask you, do you think, you said he filed to reduce his ownership, but is it possible he did not quite, I don't know, understand that he needed to be off, period?
I think based on the instruction from the board members that there's not a lot of room for interpretation about what's expected, especially from the statutory qualifications of being on a license. Again, if you have a felony, you're not allowed to hold a license.
Is he taking himself?
Will his wife be able to reapply?
Yes.
This doesn't prevent her from reapplying, right?
No, she could apply for her own license if she chose to do so.
Is he taking himself off as the managing member? Is he just having the ownership interest?
Yes. That's my belief, right?
He had listed himself as an LLC manager previously, and now he's listed himself as a founding member.
Can we have another conference with counsel here for a second?
Yep.
We're going to just move the line for a second. All right, we're back on the record then. So, Chairman, you've denied reconsideration.
Correct.
Commissioner Fan?
This person clearly knew for a long time that he's a convicted felon. I mean, he served this long sentence of house arrest. Probably some of the corporate changes should have been addressed at that time. Now, it's pretty much years later. I agree with the chairman that I don't see why we should continue to, grant him leeway, especially if the certificate of release has been denied. And so I also vote to not allow this reconsideration.
Commissioner Ford?
I vote to deny reconsideration as well, for all the same reasons.
All right, then. The next item is 448. This is a request for declaratory ruling regarding Hold'em Chess.
Counsel?
I'm sorry.
448.
Yes. We need to defer this.
You want to
Take
hold it over to 429?
Yes.
You want to go further than that? You think we're going to have an answer by then?
Probably not, but
So go one more board meeting.
Yeah, it sounds right. May 13th.
May 13th.
All right, then. The next item, 449. Lose the America Restaurant, Inc.
Sustained charge 1.
I'm at 2,000.
They've been open since 2005. 5 patrons sitting at tables. I would go with 1,000. I mean, they've been up for 15 years, nothing.
2,000.
Next item, 450. Showplace Entertainment, LLC.
So this is a on-premises theater in Buffalo. Cabaret with 6 employees. Max occupancy is 821. They want a DJ, live music, and patron dancing. The previous license was canceled for availing. The applicant was the one availing.
So
No,
the applicant.
The applicant's landlord was the...
Landlord.
Oh, right.
The
I'm sorry.
landlord was the...
You're correct. The applicant's landlord was the one availing. So the owner of the building was the availer.
In this application, it's stated that the owner only works 15 to 20 hours per week. However, there's no manager, and there's a request for 10 security guards. Judging from all the information I have in front of me, I cannot see how they are prepared to own an OP license. This street, it looks like it's a lot of residents on the street. So right now, I just don't have enough information to vote yes on this one. And so just to be conservative, I'm going to deny. But if there is other information that could be explained, I will reconsider in the future.
Commissioner Ford?
This is on-premises license for a what type of is this to be a restaurant? Excuse me.
It's a theater with 821 people in it.
It's a cabaret.
Yeah. All right. Looks like it's a former theater. Yeah. Excuse me. I have to agree with Commissioner Fan. That seems like it's not really going to be managed properly. So I would vote to deny as well.
I'm voting to deny. The landlord availed the previous licensee and we were forced to actually go and cancel that license as a result of that. I have no confidence that that landlord's going to try to do it again. It's clear that the applicant, as Commissioner Fan pointed out, only intends to be there 15 to 20 hours per week and will not manage on a nightly basis, though he says he will. There is no manager. I don't see how you can manage a place this size in 15 to 20 hours a week with all of this activity and all those security guards. So I'm voting to deny.
And then the next item, 451, Taqueria Roqueta, Inc.
This is a CNC offer for $5,000 for 4 charges.
5,000 accept.
Commissioner Ford,
5,000 accept.
Chairman Bradley.
Accept.
Next items, 452, 53, 55 is Cabo Restaurant, LLC.
These are 3 proceedings and a CNC for $10,000. Mr. Polillo has asked to adjourn this till April 15th. It was a late request, saying he needs to speak with his client to establish that steps have been taken to prevent a repeat of violations. I'll give him this one, but this is the last one. There's no more adjournments for Mr. Polillo on CNCs. I mean, I get that he wants to make sure his licensees are abiding by the law, but those are conversations he should have had beforehand. But I will grant this adjournment.
That's why I didn't grant the adjournment,
Yeah, I get it.
because it's something that should have been done.
But I'm
already.
putting, he likes to watch these meetings, or I don't know if he likes them, but he forces himself to. So I'm sure he is watching now, and there won't be any more adjournments for CNCs.
Commissioner Fan,
Yes, 415.
415.
okay. Next item, 454, Sweet Corner Grand Deli, Inc.
This is a no contest default at hearing, sustained charge 1.
This person got arrested essentially right after he got the license, so you just need to be careful. I'm at 500.
We don't have any certificate of disposition either, do we?
No.
So can you even remain in business?
Yes.
Well, we don't know that it's a felony. Does it say that it's a felony?
Well, it was a vehicle and traffic law violation, so unless it was a second DUI, which it doesn't appear that it was, then it's not a felony.
No, this is our practice in these is to not only learn of an unreported arrest, but also to send a letter and ask them for the information and the disposition. That happened here. The letter was not responded to. The pleading was sent, and the pleading was, oh no, this was a default at the hearing, so I guess the pleading was responded to, and then they didn't show up at the hearing.
And they still haven't explained what happened.
Correct.
Okay.
But it does not appear to be a felony.
All right. I'm at 1,000.
500.
So we're
She was at 500.
She was at 500.
Yep.
next item, 456, 457, Keep Street Gourmet Deli Court.
Conditional no contest for 2 proceedings, 3 charges total. 8,500 says CNC.
There are 2 sales to minors here, one on September 28th, 2008, second one on June 14th, 2019. Just those 2 charges together is a $9,000 fine. With the unpacked cigarettes, I'm at 10,000. Counter at 10,000.
Commissioner Ford,
So 2 sales to minor and proper kind. I'll go with 10,000 as well.
I was going to take the CNC given the situation everybody's in, but I do agree with both of you that this CNC should have at least been 15,000. You don't get the benefit of the two sales. They happened 6 months apart, no, actually more than 6 months apart, and it looks like the police generally arrest the salesperson after the sale, and they did issue a summons after the first sale, so they were on notice at that point. But I was just going to take
So for the record, you were accepting it.
yeah. But the counter's 10.
Yeah.
I'll accept 8,500 too if we want to just close this out. We'll be done with it.
Okay. Next item.
I agree.
Then,
It should be more.
next item 458 and 493, 127 West Fayette Street, Inc.
This is a CNC, 2 proceedings, 5 charges. The CNC offers 7,500.
I'll accept 7,500.
You got letters of support and asked to reduce the fine to 2,500 to 3,500. Let me think. What are these letters of support from? City of Syracuse Industrial Development Agency, Downtown Syracuse Committee. I thought it might have been from the mayor or police or something like that. It's not. So I'll accept the 7,500 as well.
Chairman Bradley.
I think this is low too, but I'm going to accept it because of the situation everybody is in, and particularly the restaurants. But their argument that they were not a focal point doesn't really hold water to me. The fact that the police get to the location hours after they're getting the 311 calls or whatever the reason they were going there for, and didn't find a problem, doesn't mean there wasn't a problem there when they got called. They seem to think that this exonerates them, and I don't believe it does. But I'll take the 7,500.
Then the next item, 459 Bridgehampton Wine Cellar, Inc.
This is a request for reconsideration of an alteration. We approved this in May 2018, and they still haven't started construction 2 years later. They're indicating there's been delays with the review of the building permit applications. The architect states that the project is ready to move forward and believes it will start in 2020. That looks like a pipe dream at this point. So this got denied because they hadn't acted on it, and they're now asking for reconsideration.
Frankly, because of the advisory, I don't feel like I have the authority to continue to extend this conditional approval. However, I would feel badly if this just, if he has to start over
What advisory
again.
are you talking about?
The advisory and the delegation of power with respect to the issuing conditional approvals and the extensions of conditional approvals.
But there is that advisory, the delegation now that
Yeah,
they put the memo before the
Right.
if they put a memo request before the members that there's an option
Extended
to
that.
extend
Yeah, we've now extended that advisory. We've extended in a new advisory, which was passed after this memo, I think. But that basically allows us, given what's going on, to extend conditional approvals for whatever we deem reasonable.
Okay. I mean, I wrote down that if we were to extend it, then I would be comfortable with extending it for another year. If you think that I just don't want to, go against the advisories that we've written. But if you tell me that we don't have to live by advisory 2019-4, then I'm okay with another year.
Commissioner Ford?
Will bring us
Same here. Same here. I'm okay to
All
give
right,
some more time.
let's back up a second then. So you are granting reconsideration,
Yes.
you're rescinding the disapproval,
Yes.
reinstating the approval, and then giving them
A year.
a year from when?
Today.
A year from today to meet the conditions of approval.
Yes.
Is it Commissioner
Yes.
Fan? Commissioner Ford?
Yes, that sounds great, Tom.
Yes. Absolutely.
All right, then next item 460, Goodrich Smith VFW 8649 Inc.
It's a CNC, one charge for corporate changes on December of 2019.
Just know the only reason this is before you, because it's a not-for-profit, is that it's their OP license. They don't need to do advisors of corporate changes of their officers and directors under their club license, except their ABC officer. They do, however, under their on-premises license.
And they didn't do it.
Right.
I think that was just an oversight on their part. You know, I wanted to go with a letter of warning. David opened
Yep.
since 2000.
Yep, I agree with that.
Letter of warning, can we make sure that we explain to them why they needed to do this stuff in the letter?
Sure. Next item 461, Almonte Entertainment Corp.
One charge, CNC of $2,000, failure to comply noise in August of 2019.
I'm willing to go down to 1,000 given the situation, and also because the decibel reading was only 61 over 47, and they have already paid 17.5 to the city, so I would be willing to go down to 1,000.
Commissioner Ford?
Yeah, they have had an oath hearing, so they owe them $1,750. Yeah, I go down to 1,000 too.
1,000.
Next item 462 and 487, Cheap Shots Cross Bay Inc.
This is two Salem miners, 6 months apart, a CNC 8500, and there's a significant history. I think you need to have a talk with Ms. Chaplin, Gary. About these? She's not adding correctly.
So this is
Unless they're
probably should start at 9,500. That's probably the baseline of accepting the CNC with a big block of adverse history, but I'm going to be at 9,500, assuming I'm, giving them the benefit that, taking away their adverse history. I'm not taking that into consideration. Otherwise, it should be closer to 12.
should be closer to just so we're all on the same page, and I'm not suggesting you should change anything, but the negative history here should bring the first sale to minor up to at a minimum 6,000. The next sale to minor then is 9,000 on top of that, so we should be at 15.
So it should be 15.
Right, but whatever. What'd you say? 9,500.
Yeah.
That's fine. I don't have a problem with what you said. Commissioner Ford.
I'll go along with 9,500 as well.
9,500.
Get replaced. Next item 463, 64, 65, Rennick Sports Bar Inc.
Two proceedings, conditional no. Three proceedings, conditional no contest to cancel and bond.
Cancel and bond.
Cancel and bond.
Cancel and bond.
Next item 466, New 147 Inc.
At the request of count, this is a CNC for $4,500. 6 charges. Counsel's office requests us to withdraw charge 2, 3, and 5.
For exit sign and fire extinguisher and one sale to minor, they have no adverse history. I'm at 3,500.
3,500.
That's exactly what I had down, 3,500.
Next item 467, Tequila and Mezcal NY Corp.
Conditional contest for 2 failure to comply charges, 2,500 CNC.
Accept 2,500.
Except 2,500.
Except
468, Angry Wades Inc.
2 charges, CNC offer of 2,500.
$2,500 accept.
2,500 accept.
Chairman?
Accept.
469, 138 West Fordham Road Food Corp.
CNC offer 3,500, 4 charges, no history.
And council
Oh,
office?
and council request withdraw charge 3, so 3 charges.
So, kitchen not open, security guards, and the pregnancy sign. I'll accept 3,500.
I'll accept.
Accept.
470, El Romero Bar Restaurant Inc.
1 charge of failure to comply noise, conditional contest of $1,000.
CNC 1,000 accept.
1,000 accept.
Accept.
1,000 accept.
Accept.
Next item, 471, 63 Montrose LLC.
This is a request for a change in method of operation. They want to add DJs and 1 security guard. They have a disciplinary history with us for having DJs, and they paid over $15,000 in fines previously.
With all that in their history, I vote to deny.
Sure. I vote to deny.
I vote to deny as well. They've clearly shown a disregard for the law by having the DJs to begin with. They're currently allowed recorded live music, recorded and live music, 1 guard on Saturday through Thursday and 2 guards on Friday and Saturday. So they can't comply with those conditions. I don't see adding a DJ is going to make them more compliant.
And they want to take away security guards.
Right.
Next item, 472, Hoodal Hoochie.
This is a Sullivan County package store, 330 square feet, 250 square feet retail. The closest store is 4.2 miles away.
And it's a pretty small store, 330 square feet with 250 dedicated to retail. Will not
No
be
opposition.
bulletproof.
Good point.
Yeah, and no opposition, so I would vote to approve.
Yep, I vote to approve.
I vote to approve as well. Just the distance is public convenience and advantage.
Next item, 473, 451 Denise Road Inc.
Another liquor store in Rochester, New York, 1977 square feet, 1,308 square feet will be retail, no protests. The closest store is 1.2 miles.
And this location was previously licensed, is that correct?
Yes. Closed, though, in 2015.
Okay. The applicant has other licenses, grocery, no adverse history. The other stores seem to be holding their own. I kind of think this store is sort of perfectly situated away from other stores, which adds to public convenience and advantage. So I would vote to approve.
All right, I vote to approve as well.
I'll vote to approve. Sales of 3 of the 4 closest stores have increased. There's none of the 4 closest stores are protesting. He owns, as you pointed out, Commissioner Ford, other licenses as grocery stores, and he has no adverse history with us, and it was previously a liquor store 4 years ago. So I see public convenience and advantage.
Next item, 474, Book Club Bar LLC.
This on the 10th?
The community board has approved. Go ahead.
Just to summarize, this is a eating place beer license that is bookstore, and it appears that it's mostly bookstore. I think it ended up coming here because the previous licensee was revoked by us but it was a completely different type of different type of establishment, and was a full OP. It appears that they have entered or agreed to enter into all of the steps with the community board that I don't even think are required. They're clearly not required by the law, and I don't think they're even required based on what I see of this establishment. But if they're fine with them, I guess I am too. So,
Commissioner Fan?
Yes, I vote to approve with all the stipulations that are included in the Manhattan Community Board 3, July 24th, 2019 letter on the third page, including from point 1 to point 14.
Commissioner Ford?
I'm voting to approve, and I do have a question on their application, page 12 of 24. It says you list the total number of floors of the business establishment to be licensed, including the basement, and they wrote in 6. Perhaps they just think that is the overall number of floors in the building, because they're not applying to license 6 floors.
No,
No, because the next question just says the ground floor and basement.
Okay. All right. Well, I vote to approve. I'm taking it that that's not what they meant, to license all 6 floors of the building.
so I'm going to vote to approve as well. As I said, I'll they entered into the stipulations with the community board, so they are going to go with the license. There's pictures here clearly what this is. This is absolutely nothing remotely similar to what was there before. This is actually the type of establishment that these community boards constantly complain do not exist in Manhattan or Brooklyn anymore. And it's clear that this place is mostly a bookstore. So if they need more, I would be willing to give them more if they apply for a method of operation change, within reason, obviously.
Can I just ask for a clarification? There's a letter from the community board with 14 numbered stipulations. Then also in the record we have a different document in which the licensee has agreed to most but not all of the stipulations. I just want to at least make it clear on the record.
Commissioner Pham, which letter were you talking about?
I was referring to the July 24th, 2019 letter. But yeah, there are sort of conflicting information here.
Yeah, I
don't
think
see, do we have the July 20th?
it was in the supplementary.
No, that's July 15th in the sub.
Right, and then the July 24th has a couple things that the licensee had not agreed to include in.
July 24th, 2019. Right.
Correct. And there are things in the
Yeah,
letter
so
like-
without the benefit of being able to talk to the licensee, I thought it was the most conservative thing to just adopt the CB3, conditions that they wanted. I thought that we should start there, and as Chairman mentioned, that I definitely be open to consider a change in method of operation application in recent future.
But I was willing to take the ones they agreed to
Right, that's why I wanted a clarification.
because legally they're not required to take any. What ones are different? Because I see that they're
the substantive requests for the operation of the location, I think, are consistent. I think the things that were added were things like number 13 and 14, posting stipulation beside its liquor license, providing a telephone number. Number 7, I also don't think is in the stipulation. It won't apply for any alteration without first appearing before the community board.
That's in this.
Oh, it is?
Yes.
yeah, and I don't have a problem. I don't really have a problem with any of those 3, to be honest with you.
I just wanted to make it clear on the. It doesn't matter to me either. I just
Are
wanted
the
to
hour?
clear on the
My
record.
main thing are the hours the same on both, and the closure of the rear yard, is that the same? So 8 to 12 on the one they agreed to, and in the community board letter it is 8 to 12, and then the hours of the rear yard are 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. and they're 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. So the live music is the same. and we'll end at 9 p.m.
So I guess the only
Okay.
which document do you want?
No, we'll go with the community board one, and that's whatever the one Commissioner Fan was pointing out. I
Okay.
think it's pretty consistent other than what Gary pointed out, and I don't think those are big issues. All right.
And we're all good with that?
Yep.
Next item 475, Modica Liquor and Wine, Inc.
Conditional no contest for 20,000. 3 charges.
I will accept 20,000.
20,000 accept.
Accept.
Next item 476, D Deli City, Inc.
This is a Westchester grocery store, and it's here because the principal was licensed at this location and allowed availing, which led to the cancellation of the license. The prior application was denied because he failed to disclose his prior history, and another prior application was disapproved for deficiencies. That one, I think when the first application was denied, I think I told him to reapply at a board hearing. Isn't this the same? Yeah.
That's in Mr. Romano's letter.
Okay. Any questions?
The applications they're full of omissions, blanks, and he definitely ordering beer under the previous license of his dad. How long has it been that he hasn't had beer? Has it been like at least a year?
2 years.
2 years. Okay. Yeah, what the hell? I'll approve.
I have the same. I'm the only reason I'm laughing is because I'm
We
thinking the same thing.
All said the same thing.
Do you want to note it for the record, all what the hell we approve?
With a big.
Commissioner Fan, are you on the all what the hell we'll approve too?
Yes,
Okay.
I'll go with what the hell I approve.
All right, the next item,
I think a
477.
condition needs to be that he has to hire a new accountant.
Well, then what would he have as an excuse?
That's why it's a good condition.
Next item, 477, Josh Wine Liquors, Inc.
This is a liquor store in Long Island City, 1,200 square feet, 1175 will be retail. There is one protest. It's the third closest second closest licensee who just got his license in September of 2017. This was previously licensed. It closed in September of 2017 after we gave the protester his license.
So it was a store. It was already open when we gave the other license.
Correct.
I have some concerns that, as Council Levy's letter points out, that the store is twice the size of 3 of the 4 closest liquor stores. However, if you look at the numbers, at least 3 of the 4 closest stores are doing increasing numbers, and one of them is, in the 8 million range. So, and Long Island City is continuing to expand, so I will vote to approve.
Commissioner Ford?
I would vote to approve as well on those same along the same lines. Long Island City is definitely expanding, or at least it will again soon, as we all will, we hope. So I would vote to approve.
Chairman Bradley?
I'm going to vote to approve too. The one thing, and I should have mentioned this, the closest store is Bulletproof. This is going to be an open store, and it is replacing an old store. And as Commissioner Fan pointed out, the surrounding stores seem to all be increasing their sales, except for the the third closest, and that's still up one year, down the other, and the differences aren't significant, and the sales are well over $1 million.
When this store reports it's inside Costco, these are revenues for just the liquor store? Or
Yeah, no, that's just a liquor store. They're discount. So it's all
good
discount.
location.
Well, that's the other thing. The 8 million store is a Costco store, which is only used by Costco members for the most part. So.
Right.
Next item 478, Sands Liquor Inc.
This is a Nassau County liquor store, 1,500 square feet. 500, only 500 of the 1,500 will be retail. We do have. Oh no, there are no protests, and there are 4 stores within 1.6 miles.
But the 2 closest stores have only been there since June 17th and November of 2017.
3 of the 4
But-
closest. 3 of the 4 closest are what we would consider new stores.
And they didn't
No
respond.
response from the.
They didn't give us numbers.
Correct.
No protest. I'll look at the map here for a second.
Yeah, I'm not really seeing
Oh, I
reason for the store. Go ahead.
was going to say, I remember looking at this now. It is near Costco, but it's more like nestled within like just countless neighborhoods, for which I think, and there's no protest, but I do think it would be a public convenience and advantage would be served by this one for that area. So I would vote to approve. It's not a big store anyway.
All right, I'll approve.
I would vote to deny the 3. We put 3 stores in there in the last 2.5 years. The manager has no experience, and I don't know that I have enough sales information for 2 of the 4. But it's granted. Good luck.
When they don't submit numbers, usually I assume they're going up.
Say that again.
I said when they don't submit numbers, I'm going to assume that they're going up.
Okay.
Next item 479, Hudson Yards Liquors Inc.
This is another liquor store in Manhattan, on the west side of Manhattan, almost on 11th Avenue. We have 1 protest. There are 4 stores within 0.4 miles. And while it's called Hudson Yards, the maps I've looked at, it's actually 10 blocks from Hudson Yards. But from what Mr. Bookman said, he already had a corporation open, and he decided just to. This is a second application for this guy. We denied his first one, and I think he just used the same corporation. That store was closer to Hudson Yards.
Yeah, this one is.
Yeah, go ahead.
You go ahead, Commissioner Van. You're a local.
I think there is an argument for public convenience here. 23rd Street is a major throughway, and I'm always, because I used to live on FDR, I always, feel for the people that live on the way west side. And there are some big apartment buildings that are on 23rd Street, between 9th and 11th Avenue, and I believe there are new construction that are also going up closer to Chelsea Piers in that whole area. There's a lot of building happening in the meatpacking area, and so I think there is public convenience, so I will vote to approve.
Commissioner Ford.
I think this location is obviously much better than the last one. A little bit further away from the other stores, so I will agree to approve as well.
Chairman Bradley.
I'm going to agree to approve as well. I think it is far enough away from the closest stores. It's really west. very close to 11th Avenue, so I don't even think it's going to affect the stores that are east of its sales at all, because people are not going to walk west to go to the liquor store if there's one close by. So if anybody, it's either going to serve the people that are out there, so it's a convenience to them, and if his store is going to end up better than the other ones, then people will walk over there to go to a better store, so that's also a positive. So I'll vote to approve. The one thing I do want to point out, though, can someone email enforcement and send them the closest store's sales numbers, because that guy is clearly lying. He basically has just even sales numbers, and it looks like he's making them up.
I'll notify enforcement.
Thank you.
You think it's easy to hit that round number every year?
Yeah.
It requires a lot of planning.
Yeah. Then we want to talk to his accountant too.
All right, the next item, 480, the Joy of Wine, LLC.
This is a change in class from wine store to package store. There's 4 stores within 0.5 miles. The closest store is 0.2 miles away. You can see that they put their sales numbers in there. They've gone up steadily since 2016. This is the applicant's sales numbers I'm talking about. It looks like everybody's have gone up, actually. Well, I'm sorry, most of them have gone up. 2 didn't.
Yeah, I see that Mr. Vogelman submitted.
And we do have a protest. I'm sorry.
Yes, I see that Mr. Vogelman and the store owner collected a bunch of signatures from their patrons to support their application to include to offer liquor, and they have also submitted products that they plan to sell, and so I don't see a reason to say no. So I'm going to vote to approve.
It's only 702 square feet total. Are they offering to limit it to a certain amount of SKUs or anything like that, or is there anything like that in here?
I did not see anything, although, as Commissioner Pham pointed out, they did make it clear what they're going to focus on, and that it would not be products that are sold by the other nearby liquor stores, but obviously we don't have any evidence of that, other than what they submitted.
I'll vote to approve.
I would vote to deny.
Stores.
Go ahead.
I was going to say the other stores seem to be holding their own, and I think where they're located, looking at the map here, I think they'd be okay with this. So I'm vote to approve.
I vote to deny it. I actually remember this because this was one of the first ones I watched when I first got hired here, and she wanted to be a wine store focusing on organic and biodynamic wines. It's clear that she has been doing that and doing it to a level of success. And I don't know that she would have got the license had she applied for a liquor store at that time. And I don't see anything that has changed. But good luck.
All right, then the next items, 481, 482, Senahay Deli Grocery Corp.
2 proceedings, straight no contest, 2 proceedings, 11 charges.
And surrendered.
And the license has been
Licenses-
surrendered.
And there's some pretty serious charges.
So at this point, are we canceled for the record, or is this cancel in bond? I don't think I ever got that.
There's a bond available. You can cancel, you can revoke, you can do whatever you want.
All right, cancel and bond.
Cancel and bond.
I would revoke and bond just because of the type of activity that was going on here. And also do a 2-year prescription.
I'm fine with all of that.
Okay, so we've got Chairman Bradley, Commissioner Ford voting for revocation, bond claim, and 2-year prescription. Okay. Commissioner Fan, you're staying with the cancellation of bond claim?
No, I will go with the chairman.
All right. Next item, 483, Macumba Restaurant and Catering Hall.
CNC, one disorderly premise, and the offer's cancellation. I don't think there is a bond left. There is not.
No.
No, cancel for the record.
Commissioner Fan?
For the record.
Okay.
Yes,
Chairman Pradhan.
cancellation. Yes.
Canceled for the record.
484, 85, 86, La Nueva Playitas, Inc.
This is 3 proceedings. It's a recon. The licensee previously offered $15,000. We made a counteroffer of cancel and bond. They're now proposing a $25,000 civil penalty and a 20-day suspension. Do you want to or no?
Yeah, just procedurally, there was also a no contest plea entered when they appeared for hearing. So it's a little bit of a procedural mess. Certainly, I guess the board's entitled to take the offer if it wants to. If it doesn't, it will. Counsel's office will end up resending it to the board with a pure no contest vote.
I will accept 25,000. I believe the suspension probably should be taken care of this COVID pause here, so I will remove that. I'm willing to accept 25,000.
Commissioner Ford?
I was thinking exactly the same thing.
Can we do it this way then?
Sure.
Can we deny this, get the no contest, do the same thing, but I would be able to then put conditions on this license that I cannot do here?
Okay.
Right,
So
you're-
You deny the cancellation, it comes back to counsel's office, and we will send it back up. If you deny the
Okay.
reconsideration.
Right.
And then we
Yeah.
can put conditions on the license to try to stop this type of behavior, because it's a straight no contest. Yeah, I can.
Can we have a
Yeah.
brief
Yeah, we need a
conversation?
conference with counsel. I'm not
All right, we're back on the record. You all agreed to deny reconsideration and it goes back to counsel's office?
Yes.
Yes.
And I'll deny. And then just make clear that 2 of the commissioners accepted the penalty, but I want to make a suggestion on the new one.
No, they've denied it.
No.
They denied it, but I mean, we've talked about
Well,
a penalty.
it's on the record. Yeah.
Reconsideration was denied.
Right.
And we'll come back up, and
Yeah.
this whole record will be represented to the.
Right.
To the
Okay.
to the
So
board.
the next
That's
item is
all I was worried about.
488,
All right.
Rexton Marston.
The no contest default, 1 charge sale to minor.
I'm at 4,000.
Commissioner Ford?
Renewal, unlicensed storage, recent. Yeah, I'll go with 4,000.
4,000.
Next items are 489, 90, and 502. Inwood Beer Garden and Bistro, Inc.
Tom, do you know that?
This guy, Anton.
Mm-hmm.
It's a case after hearing. 3 proceedings, dismissed charge 1 in the first proceeding, sustained charge 2, dismiss all other charges. The only charge that was sustained was a failure to display the license.
I'm going to agree with licensee's counsel and allow for and ask for a letter of warning for this one charge of failure to display license on April 29, 17.
Commissioner Ford?
I lost my original paperwork on this. Gary, was this the ALJ Damplow? One of hers?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'll do a letter of warning as well.
Letter of warning.
Next item, 491, Messina LLC.
This is a no contest of fault, one sale of minor charge. There is a previous history.
491?
Oh, I'm sorry, 48 we did.
491.
48. Oh, no, we did 4,000. I'm sorry, I got the wrong case. This is a CNC for 1,500, two charges.
1,500 accept.
1,500 accept.
It's
492, Cave Below LLC.
CNC for 10,000, four charges.
Yeah, the owner refutes the first two. Did we conclude a focal point, or did Binghamton Police conclude that?
What do you mean? There is a previous history of a focal point, but nothing, not one of the current
That's
charges.
not one of the current charges.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. I'm sorry.
But there are two recurring charges. Unlicensed security guards, employment of felon. We're in the adverse history as well.
They're the same felon, I'm assuming?
I think so. Yes.
I don't
Yeah.
need you to believe, is he just an employee?
Well, he's saying that he thought that. I think it was a security guard. I think that was the problem.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
And he thought he could. Yeah.
I could have gone up on this one. But yeah, yes, exactly. I was at 10,000 as well.
Yeah.
Was that 15,000?
No, 10,000.
10,000.
The offer.
494, 255 East 95th Street Food Corp.
One sale to minor. It's the second sale to minor in the same year, and it's a CNC of 6,000.
6,000.
6,000.
495 Union Inn of Schenectady LLC.
CNC for 25,000. 10 charges. The mayor sent a letter supporting the business, said it's been cooperative and a good business for Schenectady, although the charges seem to
Say otherwise.
conflict with that analysis.
Mayor said he attends meetings. That's,
God. Commissioner Ford?
We still complies disorderlies on 8/31/11. I was willing to maybe drop it down to, because of the letter from the mayor, maybe drop it down to 20,000.
20,000.
I would stay with the 25. 20,000.
Next
Thank you,
item
Mayor.
is 496 Hometown Liquors Inc.
This is conditional no contest for unlicensed storage warehousing.
1,500 accept.
My question to you,
1,500 accept.
members, is: do you want this license will probably be surrendered shortly because they're moving, because you approved the application? Do you want this history to follow the new license because there'll be a new serial number?
Yes. What do you mean they're moving? We already granted a removal?
It was a reconsideration.
Yes, it was denied because I'm sorry, it was
Okay.
denied for a 200-foot law.
All right.
They moved.
Yeah, the history should follow it.
They're just waiting for some village, because I know where it is. They're waiting for some village approval for the curb cuts to open up the new place. 497, Hensom Enterprises Inc.
This is a determination after hearing of 17 charges, sustain 1 through 12, dismiss 13 and 14, sustain 15, dismiss 16, sustain 17. And there is no adverse history since 2014. This is a very, very old establishment.
Yeah, Mr. Bookman references a letter from the NYPD and evidence his licensees remarkable, something like that, but I don't see any such letter. In his controversial letter, he mentions the letter from the NYPD. But
It was an exhibit in the hearing, yes?
Right. So you
I mean,
would not have that. It was entered into evidence.
Yeah.
oh,
I mean,
okay.
for
All right.
what it's worth, it was an exhibit in the hearing, and notwithstanding that exhibit, the ALJ ruled as the ALJ did. So it was not an exhibit that was added later in a controversial letter. It was something that the ALJ already considered.
Okay. From 6/1/18 to 6/2019, 51 incidents requiring police attention, including 1 shooting, 2 assaults, 1 sexual assault, 21 calls for directed patrols, 26 calls for police services, 1 disorderly, 1 forcible touching. I don't know what the police letter could have said to make that any better.
You should understand, though, that the disorderly premises charge related to the shooting itself was one of the charges that was not sustained. I believe it's referenced in the record. You have the opinion that it took place
Yep.
away from the premises, and but I believe that the focal point. Is there a focal point charge?
Yes, number 15.
And sustained, yeah.
15 was, focal point and the sustained pattern. Oh, no, the sustained pattern disorder was not.
Right.
But the focal point was.
Correct, and the failure to supervise was too.
Right.
Sustained. I mean, the argument that this is supposed to be similar to Yankee Stadium and we should be charging Yankee Stadium or Madison Square Garden is, to me, nonsensical. The last time Yankee Stadium had a shooting nearby is beyond me, even though that was not charged. The shooting still occurred. We don't have a veiling at Yankee Stadium. And based on what I can see, we have not had a failure to supervise at Yankee Stadium or Madison Square Garden. I mean, it's just, he's comparing apples to oranges. I mean, that was my take on the controversy.
I thought so too, quite honest.
I mean, this is a situation where
when's
the last time you saw a promoter being used at Yankee Stadium? Promoter gets 10% of the bar proceeds and makes $7,500 with a $5,000 bar guarantee. I mean, this is a place that seemed to have a good history, and for whatever reason, they lost control recently.
Just about all in one day.
No, I think that happened to be the day we were there. I'm sure that's why they ended up there.
So we ready for
Yes.
the vote on the penalty?
Yep, this is non-bona fide, failure to conform to application, availing by promoters, premixing, focal point for police attention, failure to supervise, licensed since 1982. I'm at 20,000 with no promoters moving forward on the license.
What did you say, Commissioner Fan? 20,000? No promoters?
20,000, yes.
Yeah. I'll go with that too.
I will as well.
Okay. Next items, 498, 499, RRR Lounge Inc.
Two proceedings after hearing. In the first proceeding, dismiss 1 through 5, withdraw 6, sustain 7, dismiss 8. In the second proceeding, dismiss 1, sustain 2 and 3, and withdraw 4 at the request of counsel. So let me ask you this: the most of these failure to comply charges were dismissed because the police officer didn't submit the summonses, so there was no. The ALJ said there was no notice. But doesn't our bill of particulars have specifics in it?
I can tell you that I've had discussions with the ALJs. This was apparently a recurring practice.
What was?
Dismissing them because of what was how the charges were pled.
Right.
Okay, I've been discussing that matter with the ALJs. That if the information is there in the bill of particulars. Now sometimes it isn't. Okay, and
when we say the information, we're talking about whatever local section they violated.
so essentially, I have advised the prosecutor, the ALJs, that if the prosecutor makes out the case, proves there was a violation, okay, the issue of notice is not an issue for the ALJs to be addressing. It's a procedural issue. It certainly is something that the licensee can raise with the full board or litigate, but it's not for the ALJs to be sorting out.
But with respect to this case, the judge's decision was based on the police action form that was admitted into evidence being insufficient because it was not a summons. My issue with the opinion, if anything, from counsel's office's perspective, is it doesn't describe what these police officers testified to.
Right.
Which is surprising. Now, it may be that they didn't have any recollection of these events because they were in 2017 and they testified 2 years later. So it may be the reason there's no discussion of that testimony is because no relevant testimony was put in. So I was not going to add,
And that's an
it's
issue.
hard to tell whether or not the opinion is exhaustive or outcome driven from counsel's office's perspective. But because the charges are dated and it would be difficult to prove them without a good documentary record, I don't know that I can take issue with her
Do we
decision.
usually not get the summonses themselves?
If there were summonses, we get them.
No, but this case we didn't.
I don't know why.
All right, so all right, so go ahead. Whatever the fine is for me is whatever you guys.
There are 3 sustained charges.
Yes, sale
Sale
minor
minor.
and 2 failure to comply. One for noise, the other for health.
I'm at 8,000.
Commissioner Ford?
I was at 5,000.
What did you say?
He was at 5, she said 8.
I'll go with 5.
5,000? Okay. Commissioner Kennedy?
5,000.
You stay
Yes,
with, all right,
5,000 is fine.
Okay. Next item is 500. 65 on Main LLC.
Conditional no contest for 6,500 for 2 charges.
6,500 accept.
6,500 accept.
Except, can you write in a letter that if they don't have food and we catch them again, though, they're done? In much more articulate form.
We could warn them
Yeah, warn
that,
them, yes.
that
They could lose their license.
They're a lawyer. They're is it a lawyer?
Yeah, no, he's a...
Carapalo?
Yeah.
he's a
He
representative.
says food is being served on the premises. You're accepting that representation, I suppose,
Yes.
in connection with your. That's enough of a record, I think.
Yes.
To get to the next.
All right, then you don't need to put it in the letter.
Okay.
'Cause I didn't see that he had actually said it.
Next item 501 Pepper Dining Inc.
This is a CNC. Is this a real Chili's? A CNC
Yes.
for 7,500. This is an instance where the 4 sales clearly occurred at the same time, so there was no notice. And the CNC 7,500.
I'll be willing to go down if they had no notice.
And they don't appear to have any. They have no adverse history since 2007.
The only thing that's happened here, this is a real Chili's, and the only thing that's happened here, I don't know if you may remember it, about a year, 2 years ago, someone went in after closing hours and they were cleaning up and murdered 2 employees there. As a matter of fact, I think he may, even in New York State, he may be looking at the death penalty on federal charges. So,
You don't want to penalize him for that, I assume.
no, no. But I was just saying, I don't know if you remember that particular incident.
Yes, I
but
do,
anyway,
yeah.
yeah, I would. What did you say, Commissioner Fan? You said
I said I'd
5,000?
willing to go down. I didn't.
Yeah,
I
I'd be
didn't
willing to go
say
to 5,000.
5,000.
5,000.
Oh, well, that was a fair offer.
503, Cantina Pizza Corp.
This is a no contest default. The place was open, looks like 4 months before all this happened. 7 charges. One of which is a failure to comply with STIPs, which were DJs. So they came in and basically listened and took their STIPs and ignored them day one.
Not okay. I'm at 10,000.
Commissioner Ford.
I was at 5,000.
I'll go to 10.
10,000.
10,000.
All right. Next item, 504, Gato Verde Sports Bar Corp.
$2,500 conditional no contest for 4 charges. There is some, but not major, adverse history.
This looks low to me, but I would accept it. 2,500.
Commissioner Ford.
I'll accept
Oh, it's
2,500.
Next item, 505, 11 West 32nd Inc.
This is a conditional no contest for $8,000 for 9 charges. One of which is having security guards, and another which is having DJs.
8,000 accept.
8,000 accept.
Chairman Bradley.
I'll accept, but reiterate: no DJs, no security guards, and no promoter. Because
Don't
we
think
didn't
they
get a
listen.
council letter on this.
Understand that this won't go out
I don't know. Yeah,
for
fine.
60 days.
Yeah,
This is a Japanese restaurant that's turning itself into a nightclub at night, apparently.
Where is it? Queens.
No, it's in Manhattan, 32nd Street.
506, R&D Liquor Store Inc.
Conditional no contest for $2,500 for 1 charge of unauthorized alterations.
2,500 accept.
2,500 accept.
Accept.
This is the guy that was here a couple weeks ago that had moved in next door before,
Yeah.
before we approved him.
Into
Into what was it, like a
next door.
Better Call Saul's office.
Yeah.
Hello?
All right, next item, 507, Fondue 26 LLC.
CNC for $10,000 for 5 charges, minimal previous history.
Not a great place, but I'll accept 10,000.
You know this place?
Yeah.
Oh, I know this place, the Ainsworth. Okay.
Commissioner Ford.
It says, upon presentation of ID, several of the patrons are determined to be under 21. Do we have any idea what several means?
We don't.
3 or 4? Huh?
We don't.
We don't. Okay.
We were relying on the evidence the police officers collected, and based on precedent, I don't believe we could have charged the underage charges individually. So we charged failure to supervise, which I think is the appropriate charge there.
All right. I'll accept the 10,000.
Oh, so
508, El Mango Bar Corp.
no contest default, 3 charges. The license is in safekeeping. They have no history since 2013. These charges are relatively serious.
Sustained pattern of noise and disorder, focal point, and failure to supervise. I'm at cancel.
Cancel and bond claim or just cancel?
Cancel and bond.
Commissioner Ford.
Yeah, they've had to dispatch at least one patrol car to the licensed premises on at least 75 separate occasions between January and February of last year. I got to imagine Sleepy Hollow can't have that big of a police force, so even one car must be a substantial drain on their resources. So I may cancel bond as well.
I am as well. I mean, I do this obviously reluctantly given the circumstances, but this place is completely out of line with that. Sleepy Hollow is mostly residential. I used to live there, so.
Next item, 509, Rose Paul Bar and Restaurant, Inc.
It's a conditional no contest, 6 charges. I actually live about a mile from this place, and I can tell you that it was a drain on police resources. They've offered cancel and bond.
Cancel and bond.
Commissioner Ford, I don't know if I got you or not.
Yes, cancel and bond.
Okay, next item, 510, Exotic Island Enterprises, Inc.
This is a conditional no contest, failure to comply, unlicensed security guards, sustained pattern of noise, and a focal point for police attention. The lawyer's letter asked us to consider lowering the penalty in light of that they fixed everything and the prices. The offer is $7,500.
Oh,
I would go to 5,000.
all right, 5,000.
$5,000.
Next item, 510A, Shelburne Bar and Grill, Inc.
Offer CNC is a cancel and bond. 4 charges.
Cancel and bond.
It opens
Cancel and bond.
1938.
Takes the power.
Cancel and bond.
Oh wow, you're right.
This guy was
He must have been on his way out.
No.
He could have survived it.
he was selling without. He doesn't have a wholesaler's receipt for years. He put in an affidavit that said that he had them, and then he was asked for the actual receipts, and he basically had lied in his affidavit. So he figured he was done.
That's too bad.
Yeah.
All right, the next item, 510B, Gary Cole.
This is a charges after hearing, sustained charges 1 through 3. I am not really that set on the fine amount, but I do intend on limiting occupancy to 100 going forward.
I'm at 5,000. And okay with limiting occupancy, as the chairman mentioned.
You're saying limit to 100 on both floors combined?
Yes, they're at 100 and I think 65 both floors right now. It's going to be 100 and since both floors. I mean, and I think the second floor holds less people under the C of O, so they still have to comply with the C of O. The other one wouldn't even reach the C of O.
All right, so I'll do 5,000 and 100 cap.
So I'm at 5,000 and no promoters as well. No promoters and the limit occupancy to the entire place for 100 people, including employees.
Commissioner Fan, you okay with the no promoters too?
Yes. Yes, yes.
Commissioner Ford?
Yes.
Next item, 510C, TCK LLC.
This is one charge after hearing. The ALJ dismissed the charge.
Dismissed.
Commissioner Ford?
Dismiss.
Chairman Bradley.
Dismiss.
510D, Ad Restaurants Group, Inc.
Charge after hearing. The ALJ dismissed the disorderly premise charge.
Not a great place, so we'll dismiss.
Commissioner Ford?
Yeah, I'll go with dismiss.
Chairman Bradley.
Dismiss.
Next item, 510E, 500 Lexington Ave Wine and Liquor, Inc.
CNC for 3 charges of $20,000.
20,000.
I'll accept 20,000.
Chairman Bradley.
I'll accept too.
Next item, 510F, Triangle Eatery and Bar, LLC.
This is 3 charges after hearing. Sustain all 3 charges. There's significant adverse history.
Just for the record, the agenda sheet says they're failure to comply charges. They're actually failure to conform charges. I don't know that matters, but I guess when we write it up, it will matter. I don't know what the pleading says.
Well, those came out of the system. So let me hold on for a second here. All right, what happened was the prosecutor added the local regulations on to the compliance system in error. All right, it should just be failure to comply without anything else on it.
Which would indicate failure to comply with STIPs.
Yes, or a number of other things. So we're going to have to go back and correct that.
But there's no legal implications.
No, the charge, the pleading had the correct charge.
Right.
The ALJ had the correct charge. It's just that the charge was entered wrong into compliance. I'm not sure how it was that they issued a pleading that said something differently. But
Okay.
Should charge 3 be dismissed? Failure to local regulations and regarding dancing,
Why?
because if it's a local, is it our regulation or
No,
local regulation?
It was a stipulation.
The opinion makes it clear that the ALJ was ruling on a violation of the method of operation, not on a violation of a local ordinance.
Right, so there's a
Got it.
stipulation, Commissioner Ford. There's no dancing on their license.
Got it. Okay. All right.
I just want the adverse history to reflect that they were violating an agreement with us as opposed to some local regulation.
Right.
This is borderline cancel and bond. But the only saving grace is that I see that the chargers were written up before our November 19 full board, where they got 15-day suspension and $15,000. So next time it's going to be cancel and bond. But for this, I'm at 20,000. Just because they got a charge for 10,000 in February of 19, 15,000 in November of 19.
15,000, 20,000. Yeah. So they were open beyond 1:30, utilizing a DJ, which I'm sure was against their stipulation on dancing. I was more like 10,000. I'll let you decide, Chairman.
What do I got? 20 and 10?
10 and 12, yeah.
15.
15.
We'll see who comes in.
All right.
15.
We need one of you to move.
They did. They both moved.
So what we
15 is
at?
fine.
15?
15.
Yes,
Yep.
15.
The next items, 510G and 510H. There had been requests to hold it over. I think that's been resolved, and we're going to go forward with it today.
Yes.
With the revised offer
Which is canceling
of
bond.
cancel and bond claims.
Cancel and bond effect.
Cancel and bond, accept.
Then I'll accept.
Not underage, huh?
Next item, 510I, 565 Westside Cafe Corp.
This is 12 charges after hearing. Dismiss 1, sustain all the other charges, 2 through 12. And the charges are serious charges.
Yeah, for disorderly, failure to conform, non-bona fide, premixing books and records. purchase from North High Sauce. I am at 15,000.
Did you say 16,000?
15,000.
15. I'm sorry.
Oh,
I'll
that's
go
all
with
right.
15,000.
15.
15,000. Next item, 510J, 151 Dykeman Corp.
2 charges after hearing. Dismissed both the ALJ dismissed both charges. The license has already been revoked.
So I'm not understanding Mr. Palillo's request.
So
Yeah.
there's pending litigation asking us to asking the court to put the license back. Even though these charges were dismissed, Mr. Palillo is asking that this be held over to be considered whenever that litigation is resolved, even though the charges were dismissed.
I think he's worried that we would put them back in. I don't see how that affects his
It
litigation.
doesn't affect his litigation.
If we're going to dismiss these, it's not getting held over. So I don't know where you
Okay.
guys are, but I'm at this.
Yeah, that's fine.
Commissioner Ford?
Support his position.
Oh, they do.
Cancel for the record.
No.
No, he's just going to dismiss.
The ALJ recommend dismissal of the charges. Chairman Bradley and Commissioner Fan are adopting the ALJ's decision.
I'm sorry. Yes. Yes.
Over Mr. Palillo's request for an adjournment, because I don't see, if we're dismissing the charges, I don't see how that could hurt his status in a related litigation over other charges where we revoked his license.
I'll agree. Dismiss.
Okay. Next item, 510K, 242 Wood Food Inc.
This is 3 charges after hearing, dismiss 1, sustain 2 and 3.
Oh, I'm at 3,000.
Noise and disturbance and unamplified sound systems. 3,000.
So I'm at 3,000, but there's to me no music or speakers outside.
Right.
No, you got this?
Right, hold on. 3K, no music, speakers outside.
Ever. No DJs, no live music.
That's anywhere.
Right. The no DJs, no live music, no karaoke, no promoters is anywhere. Yeah. So basically, outside should be silent, and inside should be background music.
All right, Commissioner Fan, are you good with those extra conditions imposed?
Yes.
Commissioner Ford?
Absolutely, yes.
All right. I have nothing else scheduled. Chairman, you have anything else?
Yeah.
10L.
Yeah.
10L.
I have 510L.
No, you don't. That's on for next time. You should not have gotten that. We checked. That
Oh,
was put
okay.
on. I sent you an email.
I don't
Oh,
ever
I'm
read
sorry.
your emails, Tom.
Apparently you don't.
Okay.
All right,
That's
that's
on for
it.
next meeting. All right, meeting's adjourned.
Thank you.